A new Las Vegas police task force has reopened the investigation into the death of Tupac Shakur. Recent developments in the case have drawn widespread attention, with media outlets reporting that major figures in the rap industry, including Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight and Diddy, may soon be questioned or even face arrest. Fans are speculating about Snoop Dogg's potential involvement after new evidence surfaced, prompting federal authorities to re-examine an old interview that could shed light on his possible connection to the case.
You were with Tupac, though, in regards to Tupac. I heard a story, did you give him different advice that night on where to go?
I didn't give him no advice.
Right.
We wasn't seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So.
Saying during the Tyson?
Yeah, this incident that I'm explaining to you right now was the day before that.
Okay.
So when they got to Vegas, they went their way, I went back. When we got to LA, they went to Vegas and I went home. That's why I wasn't in the car. In the car with him.
Snoop Dogg has stated that he was originally meant to be in the BMW with Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight on the night of the shooting. However, due to some last-minute changes, likely triggered by a heated altercation between the three just a day earlier, he did not join them.
The last time me and Tupac was on the same page, and I did an interview with Angie Martinez, and she asked me how did I feel about Puffy and Biggie. And I told her that I like their music and I want to do music with them. Bro didn't like that. Tupac didn't like that. So we had a misunderstanding. So on the flight back to LA, I didn't feel comfortable around them for what they had did, as far as I didn't let my security ride with me. So to protect myself and to, prevent from happening, I slept under a blanket within the fort just in case something was to go wrong, but it didn't.
With all these events happening within just 48 hours, the police are growing increasingly suspicious that Snoop Dogg may have had a tip about Tupac's murder. 2 decades ago, Snoop was deeply connected to the streets, and many believe he might have learned that Tupac was going to be targeted that night, leading him to avoid getting into the car. Adding to the investigation, federal agents uncovered an interview in which Snoop admitted that just 2 days before Tupac's death, he felt like he hated him.
I say a week before we was best of friends. 2 days before I don't think he liked me. Why? Because we was in New York and it happened. New York, they shot at me and did all kind of shit to me, like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave him. And when did the interview and was asked, how do I feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I was like, I like it. I want to do some music. And I just rubbed Cuz the wrong way, like trying to me. How that you? You talking about you want to do a song with it? I wasn't thinking about his emotion. I was thinking about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't into no controversy. I liked the music. They was our friends. We was all friends at one point. This video footage of all of us hanging out.
All of this evidence has been tied together in a viral thread suggesting that Tupac Shakur was allegedly an informant. According to an interview with a police officer, Tupac was planted in the industry with the purpose of ending the conflict between the Bloods and the Crips. It's believed that Snoop Dogg may have gotten wind of this, adding more suspicion to the case.
Well, it turns out when I talked to Tupac's longtime mentor, political mentor, former Black Panther Choku Lumumba, who was his first business manager, he's told me, I basically was asked, well, was Tupac only pretending to be or to appeal to gangs and politicize them? And he said yes. And that was part of his thug life agenda that he came up with his imprisoned stepfather, Mutulu Shakur. And so Tupac was just using that in order to get the leaders to call peace truces, first in Los Angeles, then throughout California, and then throughout the country. And that was why he was pretending to be this type. And really, he was just an intellectual prodigy.
Obviously, the plan didn't work, which ultimately led to Tupac's sudden death. This sheds light on why Snoop Dogg might have avoided being near Tupac in Las Vegas if he had heard that Tupac was an informant. However, investigators have also uncovered a fascinating theory suggesting that Tupac might still be alive. The evidence raises questions, especially after a 2010 interview with rapper Trey, who revealed that he and Tupac were close friends and even collaborated on several albums. But it was what Trey said at the end of the interview that caught everyone's attention. When the cameraman accidentally left the camera rolling and set it down, you can hear the interviewer asking Trey about Tupac, to which Trey quietly replies, "Last time I saw him, he was in Cuba."
So if you ain't ready for it, get on the sidewalk.
One last question.
Nobody knows. Yeah, we good. Thanks a lot, man.
Then, just 2 weeks later, a video surfaced on a news website showing what appears to be Tupac casually hanging out in a parking lot in Cuba.
Zoom in. That's Pop, man. He was the outlaw. And Reg from Holla Back is trying to be friendly and get autographed. Holla Back exclusive, baby. Holla Back.
In case you didn't know, that video is what sparked the popular Tupac is alive in Cuba theory, which has remained one of the most talked about theories ever since. However, now, in 2025, it's starting to feel less like a theory and more like a possibility, especially since Suge Knight has repeatedly stated in interviews over the past 2 decades that Tupac is alive and well. In one notable interview, he even mentioned that Tupac was reportedly doing fine in the hospital before his supposed passing, stating, quote,
So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad.
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
What makes this even stranger is that police records show Tupac was reportedly in a coma when he arrived at the hospital. So how could he and Suge Knight have been laughing together if Tupac was unconscious? It just doesn't add up. Interestingly, if you go back 10 years to a 2008 interview, Suge Knight said the exact same thing, claiming that Tupac is alive and doing well.
So he was conscious on the way to the hospital.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital. He was conscious in the ambulance. He was conscious after they did the surgery.
What was the last thing that he said to you?
They left.
Suge Knight has stood by the theory that Tupac is still alive ever since his apparent death. But what's chilling is that shortly after a 2008 interview where Suge revealed this information, he nearly lost his life in a nightclub shooting when a man fired 6 shots in his direction. Suge was hesitant to tell the police, much knowing the attack was likely retaliation for speaking about Tupac publicly. It gets even more intense. In 2018, Suge Knight's son, Suge Jr., made a similar move by posting on Instagram that Tupac was alive and living in Malaysia. Shortly after, he shared a screenshot of a threatening text that read, "You've said too much. It's now time for you to go." Panicked Suge Jr. began posting photos of Tupac alongside modern celebrities like 50 Cent and Beyoncé. On a photo with Tupac and Beyoncé, he captioned, "He never left us, but they'll be after me soon." While some see this as a publicity stunt for social media attention, others believe Suge Jr. might actually know more about the case than anyone else, especially since his father, Suge Knight, was at the scene of the crime. But when you compare all of this to the official police records of Tupac's death, the story starts to unravel. It all began on September 7th, 1996, when Tupac was in Las Vegas with Suge Knight head of his record label. The two were headed to the MGM Grand to watch a Mike Tyson fight, but after the match, they spotted a police officer in the hotel lobby.
Suge Knight and their entourage went to the Mike Tyson at the MGM Grand. Keefy D and his nephew, Orlando Lane Anderson, and 2 of their friends were also there. Keefy D told LAPD Detective Greg Kading more than a decade ago in a proffer that couldn't be used against him. The thing was retaliation after Tupac jumped Orlando and up the casino. Surveillance cameras recorded the fact. Tupac was angry that Lane had stolen his necklace years prior in Compton. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the entourage left the casino quickly.
Security soon stepped in to break up the altercation between Tupac, Suge, and the others. As a result, Tupac and Suge had to return to their hotel to change clothes before heading out to a club to party for the night. Around 11 p.m., they into their black BMW, started the engine and cruised through the streets of Las Vegas. While stopped at a red light on the way to the club, another car pulled up beside them and a conversation began, right there in the middle of the street.
Knew about Tupac's concert at the Club 662. Members, including Orlando and Keith Lee, jumped in their white Cadillac and started cruising the strip looking for the offender. Before long, they finally spotted Tupac's caravan. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Koval Lane, the white Cadillac pulled alongside the black BMW with Suge on the driver and Tupac on the passenger seats. The back window of the Cadillac rolled twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in the thigh.